Have you ever really looked at the size of your own fingers? Have you noticed how the length of each one seems to tell a unique story about who you are? What if I told you that by looking at your own hands right now, you could uncover deep secrets about your personality, your life journey, and even your karma? Imagine this. You're sitting somewhere quiet, maybe having a coffee, and suddenly you feel an urge to look at your own hands. What do you see? Some would call it pure anatomy. But today I'm going to show you why your hands are much more than just physical instruments. They can be the map of your destiny, a signature of what you came to learn, transform, and share in this world. I know, it might sound a bit unconventional. Many people think self-knowledge only comes from books, therapy, or deep conversations. But the truth is, some answers are literally within sight, etched into every line, every proportion of your body, just waiting to be deciphered. If this sparked a hint of curiosity, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment below. I want to know the secrets of my hands. That will motivate me to bring even more surprising content for you to dive deep into the world of self-knowledge. Ready for this journey? Then take a good look at your hand and come with me. Do you know who else deeply believed in the symbolic power of the body? Carl Gustav Jung, the father of depth psychology. Jung argued that the body is a living mirror of the soul. Everything we experience, feel, repress, or long for eventually manifests in some way in our physical being. And you don't need to be a mystic to agree. Even modern science has given its stamp of approval to this idea. For example, researchers worldwide have been studying the digit ratio, which is the proportion between the length of the ring finger and the index finger. They discovered that this measurement, besides carrying genetic patterns, is directly associated with hormonal levels you received while still in your mother's womb. Jung, being the visionary he was, already said that certain physical traits can be the living expression of unconscious archetypes. In other words, what we see on the outside is just the tip of the iceberg of internal secrets. It's no wonder that ancient civilizations, like the Egyptians, Greeks, and Hindus, used hands as signs of power and destiny, long before science even existed. Today we have modern instruments and solid research to prove what the ancients already intuited. Small physical differences like the length of a finger can be the key to unlocking who we are and what we came to transform on this planet. Maybe you've never wondered, but now think, is it a coincidence or a secret signature? Carl Jung, modern science, and ancient sages agree, and I'll show you how it all connects to your own story. Time to practice. Stretch out your right hand and observe carefully. Find the two central fingers, the index finger, the one you point with, and the ring finger, where a wedding ring traditionally goes. Now align both. Are their tips exactly the same height? Is one clearly longer than the other? Or are they very close? This difference in height is called, in scientific studies, the 2D, 4D ratio between the second and fourth digit. It might seem like a minor detail, but it reveals a lot about how your brain was shaped even before you were born. To measure, do this. Press your hand against a flat surface and use a ruler or even the edge of a piece of paper. Measure from the base, where the finger begins, near the first line of the palm, to the tip of each finger. Note or memorize. Is your ring finger longer, shorter, or equal to your index finger? Think of this proportion as a map drawn in the womb, an invisible code you inherited genetically and that was influenced by very specific conditions during gestation. That's why the digit ratio has become a topic of research in psychology, neurology, and even studies on social behavior. Visualize each finger as a gateway to different aspects of your personality and personal challenges. Your hand map isn't a fixed oracle, but a compass that points to tendencies, gifts, and even recurring obstacles. Your hand is, deep down, a page from the great book of your life, ready to be read and reinterpreted by you. Have you ever wondered what determines if someone is born more competitive or more sensitive, bolder or more cautious? The root of these characteristics might literally be at your fingertips. The proportion between the ring finger and the index finger originates from the levels of two essential hormones during gestation, testosterone and estrogen. While still in the womb, your exposure to these hormones shaped not only your physical features, but also how your brain is structured and responds to the world. When a child receives more testosterone, the ring finger tends to be longer than the index finger. This pattern is often related to personality profiles with traits of leadership, assertiveness, and a willingness to take risks. It's no coincidence that elite athletes, for example, frequently show this more pronounced ratio. On the other hand, when estrogen predominates, the index finger tends to be equal to or longer than the ring finger. This usually reflects a brain more oriented toward empathy, the pursuit of social harmony, and the emotional reading of environments. These are people who, from an early age, develop an ease in grasping the nuances of what they feel and what others feel. But it's not a rigid rule. Each person is unique, and the digit ratio only indicates tendencies. It never determines absolutely. The most beautiful thing about this mechanism is realizing that body and mind walk together, revealing signs about patterns that need attention, transformation, and enhancement. It's fascinating to think. While you were still just a promise of life, your fingers were already absorbing signals from the universe, translating them into physical molds that would later become psychic paths. The challenges and virtues of each person, ultimately, are intertwined in this silent code we all carry, consciously or unconsciously. The experience of looking at your fingers, perceiving their proportions, and considering them part of a personal journey is a deep invitation to self-observation. Every time you look at your hands from now on, you'll remember there's a story there, and it has everything to do with you. Now that you know the proportion between your ring finger and your index finger, let's dive into an even deeper discovery. This measurement can reveal which of the three great karmic profiles or archetypes resonates most with you. Each of these profiles symbolizes a journey, a challenge, and a particular gift connected to what your soul came to work on in this life. The first archetype is the warrior. If your ring finger is clearly longer than your index finger, you might identify with this figure. The warrior is someone who carries immense strength within to fight, face obstacles, and assert themselves in life's challenges. They don't shy away from battle and often dedicate themselves to defending causes, leading groups, or simply imposing their will when necessary. You might even have felt a certain inner restlessness, a constant feeling of having to prove something, of needing to overcome barriers that seem to repeatedly arise. This happens because the warrior has a typical mission: to transcend the energy of conflict, learning not only to fight but also to choose their battles wisely. However, be careful. The warrior needs to balance their strength with compassion to avoid falling into a common trap, one where excessive aggressiveness pushes people away and creates unnecessary conflicts. If you see yourself in this profile, ask yourself, how can I direct this powerful energy to transform my challenges into real growth without losing sight of the tenderness that also dwells within me? The second archetype is the harmonizer. If your index finger is equal to or even slightly longer than your ring finger, this is your spiritual tribe. The harmonizer is attuned to the subtle vibrations of the environment. They naturally seek balance, avoid conflict, and value inner and social peace. People with this profile are intensely empathetic, can easily pick up on others' feelings, and often serve as a safe haven for friends and family. But be careful. The harmonizer can get lost trying to please everyone, ignoring their own needs for the sake of others' harmony. Therefore, their mission is to learn to say no without guilt and to set clear boundaries, because true balance is not just external, but also internal. Have you ever considered if, in your life, you are sacrificing too much to avoid causing discomfort? The harmonizer needs to remember that self-love is just as important as loving others. The third archetype is the balanced one, and as the name suggests, this is someone whose ring finger and index finger have very similar, almost equivalent proportions. This person carries within them a blend of the two previous profiles, with a unique ability to understand and integrate the forces of courage and empathy. The balanced individual has the privilege and the challenge of navigating between two worlds, that of intense action and that of deep sensitivity. They can be that friend who knows when to act firmly and when to embrace with tenderness, the leader who understands both strategy and human emotions. However, don't think this necessarily makes the balanced person's life simpler. Their challenge is precisely to maintain this constant balance, because the line between action and reflection, between strength and gentleness, can be subtle. The blend can generate doubts, indecision, and a feeling of dispersion, the famous analysis paralysis. If you fit this profile, the invitation is to look within and realize that your ability to move between extremes is a powerful tool for creating personal and collective harmony. These three archetypes, warriors, harmonizers, and balanced, are not just categories. They are like lenses to see, more clearly, the patterns that mark your journey. Whatever yours may be, know that this information serves to bring awareness, not to limit. It's an invitation for you to embrace your potentials and recognize in your journey a greater meaning, a purpose that perhaps until now has gone unnoticed. Have you ever stopped to wonder why certain situations seem to repeat in your life, as if there's an invisible pattern that insists on replaying? It might be a particular type of relationship that doesn't work out, a recurring financial problem, or even an internal block that challenges your attempts to move forward. Energy science and the study of karma help us understand this through a fascinating principle, the law of karmic attraction. This concept proposes that what our body and mind vibrate, often unconsciously, attracts experiences to us that correspond to these patterns. Now here's the direct connection to your finger ratio. Imagine that this ratio between your ring finger and index finger isn't just a physical detail, but a channel that reflects the energetic frequency you've carried since before you were born. It's an energetic pattern that remains active and influences how you react to the world, how you relate, and what situations you end up attracting into your path. For example, if you have the warrior profile and constantly find yourself involved in conflicts or disputes, perhaps this is your karma manifesting, not as punishment, but as an opportunity to learn to manage strength more consciously, to cultivate courage tempered by wisdom and self-control. If your profile is harmonizer and you notice you sacrifice too much to avoid conflicts, perhaps your karmic repetition is this: learning to set your own boundaries, to honor your needs, and to balance empathy with self-care. And for the balanced person, repetition can appear in constant indecision, fear of taking a stand, the dilemma between action and passivity. It's an invitation to find your inner voice and honor your extremes as part of a growth cycle instead of running from them. These cycles of repetition, far from being merely negative, are energetic clues that guide your evolution. They're like those school tests you have to take to move up a grade. Each mistake is in reality a powerful learning experience for the soul, an opportunity to integrate lessons that are held in the unconscious and that the body announces through your digital proportion and related energies. When you understand that these patterns are messages and not condemnations, you change how you face your obstacles. Instead of fighting the current, you start swimming in favor of your growth. Awareness of your digit ratio reveals these repetitions, illuminating the path so you can break vicious cycles and transform challenges into stepping stones toward wholeness. This journey I've started telling you about isn't just about hands and hormones, but about the profound symbolic language of the body and psyche, a language that Carl Jung masterfully studied through analytical psychology. For Jung, our unconscious isn't just a repository of repressed desires and fears. It's also the realm of symbols, archetypal images that speak an intuitive and powerful language. And when we talk about bodily proportions, like the relationship between fingers, we're talking about these living symbols, an external manifestation of contents that inhabit the depths of our being. Jung invites us to look at our shadow, that hidden side of ourselves that we prefer to deny or forget, as an essential part of our redemption. This shadowy side can be reflected in attitudes we repeat, in patterns that sabotage us without us being able to clearly explain why. It's exactly here that the finger ratio comes in as a powerful key. It's a physical sign that points to these unconscious aspects. It's no coincidence that people with a longer ring finger, for example, might carry within them the shadow of excessive aggression, while those with a longer index finger might struggle with the shadow of passivity or self-negation. And the balanced individuals live the challenge of integrating these two polarities, often facing internal dilemmas that seem to never fully resolve. By opening yourself to this bodily and symbolic language, You begin to understand yourself not only from the perspective of the conscious mind, but also from the gaze of the unconscious, that mysterious part that knows more than we think about what we need to face to grow. Therefore, reading your own hand map becomes a therapeutic and spiritual practice, a way to dialogue with your deep self, to recognize shadows without fear, and to embrace your potentials with love and responsibility. Jung reminds us that discovering and integrating the shadow is what makes true individuation possible, the process of becoming who we truly are in all our complexity. And the signature of your karma, drawn on your hands, is a constant invitation to this transformation. Have you realized how looking at your own hands can reveal more than we imagined? This simple gesture, which many do automatically, has the potential to become a powerful tool for self-discovery. Now that you understand the meaning behind your finger lengths and what that can say about your personality, your journey, and your karma, I want to invite you to take it a step further. Transform this perception into daily practice. The first task is simple. Do a conscious observation exercise. Every time you look at your hands, pause for a moment. Measure your index and ring fingers again, and remember that the profile it indicates, warrior, harmonizer, or balanced. With this awareness, start noticing which situations in your daily life seem to align with this pattern. It might be a recurring difficulty, a behavior that keeps you stuck, or a talent you tend to underestimate. Next, keep a journal, even a brief one, noting what you observe. This habit strengthens the connection between the conscious and unconscious mind, which in the Jungian view is fundamental for transformations to begin. It also helps identify emotional patterns that often go unnoticed. Another powerful tool is symbolic reflection. Try meditating by visualizing your fingers and imagining the energy each one represents. Feel this energy within you, the strength of the warrior, the harmony of the harmonizer, or the balance of the balanced. Allow yourself to connect with these archetypes and observe what emotions or images appear. This practice doesn't require any prior knowledge, just openness to what arises. If you want to deepen this journey even more, I recommend seeking resources that integrate this methodology, such as ebooks we teach, courses dedicated to the symbolic language of the body, and specific self-discovery methods based on analytical psychology. Such knowledge acts as maps that help navigate the waters of self-knowledge, making the journey clearer and less confusing. And don't forget, this is a journey that only makes sense if you allow self-knowledge to go beyond theory. Put it into practice in your daily life. Observe your gestures, your decisions, and the stories your hand reveals. All of this is an invitation to awaken a greater awareness of who you truly are, far beyond what the eyes can see. Now I want you to understand something very important. This proportion between your fingers, this seemingly simple measurement, isn't something that limits you. It's not a fixed label that defines forever who you are or who you will be. On the contrary, it's a map, a tool that allows you to open your eyes and clearly see your challenges, and especially your potentials. Your hand speaks to you today because you're ready to listen. The universe placed this signature on your skin so that you become aware and take the reins of your own life. When you recognize your power and also your shadows, you become capable of transforming obstacles into conscious choices, into possibilities for growth. Imagine that every karmic pattern you carry isn't a prison, but a toolbox of precious tools for you to become your best version. If today you find yourself facing the same difficulties, the dream is to awaken to the possibility of stepping off autopilot and choosing different paths, paths that lead to the integration of light and shadow, aggression and compassion, action and sensitivity. This conscious transformation demands courage. Courage to look within, to question old habits, to accept what you once denied. But it also demands self-love, because only by loving your complexity can you move and expand it. And here's the great promise. When you integrate your archetypes, when you accept the multiple facets of your personality expressed in your hands, you begin to live authenticity with more lightness and less internal conflict. You become a more whole person, capable of creating healthier relationships, making decisions aligned with your purpose, and experiencing life with greater pleasure and meaning. Therefore, I invite you to look at your hands with a new perspective from now on. Look at them as a portal to your evolution. Allow this vision to inspire you to change your destiny, not the destiny the world imposed, but the destiny your soul chose. So, you who've made it this far, have you looked at your hands with a different perspective? Have you measured your fingers and felt how this discovery touches your life? The universe, in its infinite wisdom, tattooed a signature on your hands that carries the story of your karma, your challenges, and your gifts. This signature is unique, just like you are, and keeping this secret to yourself would be a great loss. I want to invite you to share your results in the comments below. Is your ring finger longer, shorter, or equal to your index finger? Which archetype do you think fits you best? Also, share your insights, questions, and experiences. By doing so, you help others see their own maps and create a ripple effect of self-knowledge that expands. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more profound insights like this. Your journey is just beginning, and together we can explore many other mysteries hidden within our bodies and souls. Remember, self-knowledge is an endless adventure, and every step you take reveals new inner landscapes, new possibilities for being and transforming your world. Look at yourself again today with love and curiosity. Your hands hold secrets that deserve to be discovered, and you deserve to live your best version. May this invitation awaken in you the desire to delve deeper into this fascinating journey, a journey that begins within you. Subscribe to the channel and leave your like to access more stories like this. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing yourself this experience. See you on the next dive into transforming knowledge.